Hey everybody, it's Ben, and I'm back once again with another video for you guys. Today I'll be reviewing Five Ghosts, Volume 1, The Haunting of Fabian Gray. The series is written by Frank J. Barbiere and illustrated by Chris Mooneyham. And on the colouring we have Lauren Affey and S.M. Bidari. If I butchered those names, I do apologise. This first volume collects the first 5 issues of the series, which is published by Image Comics. So our story starts out and we are introduced to our title and main character of Fabian Gray as he breaks into the the Castrum Hohenberg in Australia to attempt to steal some family jewels. And you find out right from the get-go that Fabian Gray is somehow in the possession of the abilities of 5 literary ghosts, which are known as the Archer, the Wizard, the Samurai, the Detective, and the Vampire. And right from the get-go, right from the first issue, from the opening pages, you see some really cool and really just fantastic usage of the 5 ghosts' powers, as you can see there. There's been some speculation amongst the fans of this series as to whether or not there's actually names for all these characters apart from the names that I've just given. For example, some names that have been thrown about, or thrown about the most I should say, have been Robin Hood, Merlin, Sherlock Holmes, Dracula, but curiously no one's been able to name the Samurai, which I actually had a look at and tried to research, but I couldn't really find anything on it. And here again you see some really cool usage of the 5 ghost powers, as you can see there. And you quickly find out the reason as to why Fabian Gray is attempting to steal these family jewels, while at the same time being introduced to his friend and fellow companion and adventurer Sebastian, as you can see there. And you find out the whole reason as to why Fabian Gray has gone on this adventure is to try to find a cure for his sister Sylvia's coma, which he unintentionally put her in, which we find out in flashbacks how this unfortunate incident occurred. And at the same time we are introduced to our main antagonist for this 5 issue story arc of Iago, who is under the employ of a very elusive group of bad guys who we don't know anything about, which I really like, as we keep some element of surprise, suspense and anticipation for when these villains are actually brought into the forefront. And here once again we see some really cool usage of the Samurai's abilities, as Fabian tries to defend both himself and Sebastian from some tribesmen, as you can see there and there. Unfortunately, Fabian's power starts to play up, and as a result the 2 of them are captured, and they are then taken to the tribesman's village to be sacrificed to a giant spider, as you can see there, or a spider god I should say, which turns out to actually be just a giant spider, as you can see there. We're then introduced to another of our characters, of Zhang Guo, who is a potential ally and a friend to both Fabian and Sebastian. And there's some really awesome panels and some really just awesome moments and really great panel layouts as well by Chris Mooneyham, as you see Fabian wielding the vampire's powers, as you can see there and there. This is my first exposure to Frank J. Barbiere as a writer, Chris Mooneyham as an artist, and Lauren Affey and SM Vidari as creators, and I have to say the work by this entire creative team is absolutely fantastic. And here we see our heroes making their getaway in an airship which looks very similar to the airship that appeared in The Mummy Returns. For those of you who've seen that film, you'll know what I'm talking about. Although this airship isn't actually given a name. Like I've said, you know, the artwork by Chris Mooneyham and the colouring by Lauren Affey and SM Vidari is absolutely fantastic, along with the equally fantastic writing and storytelling by Frank J. Barbiere. And we find out a bit of backstory about Zhang Guo as to who he is and how he came into possession of a dreamstone of his own, as well as expanding the mythology of the dreamstones and the dreaming, and the fact that Fabian can control 5 literary ghosts from all works of fiction, like I said, which is probably why the names of Robin Hood, Dracula, Sherlock Holmes and Merlin have been thrown about a lot by the fans of the series, as they are all literary characters as well. And at the same time, you have Fabian's dreamstone is actually starting to fail him, and as a result he has to go through 5 trials of the 5 ghosts in order to be granted access to their powers. And once again you see some really great sequences of Fabian undergoing these 5 trials. Here we see the trial of the detective, as you can see there and there. I'm not going to show you all of the trials, as some of the pages that go along with the trial story sequences are actually spoiler territory, but I will show you another trial, and that is of the wizard. In order for Fabian to be granted access to his magic, he needs to pass the wizard's test, as you can see, or trial actually I should say, as you can see there and there. And while this is going on, there's some really great action sequences between Zhang Guo and our villain Iago. I really like the fact that Frank J. Barbiere portrays Fabian Gray as an anti-hero of sorts. He's a guy that, while on his adventures and before his adventures even began, in flashbacks, he has made some mistakes in his life, but he is trying to make things right. And trying to protect the people that depend on him, as well as bring his sister Sylvie out of a coma. And there's some really great action sequences towards the end of the story, as well as a really great open-ended cliffhanger ending, which leaves it open for more stories to be told within the 5 Ghosts universe and with our hero, or titular hero, Fabian Gray. The writing and the storytelling in this by Frank J. Barbiere is absolutely fantastic, along with the equally on-par artwork of Chris Mooneyham and the colouring of Lauren Affey and SM Vidari. If you're a fan of the old-school pulpy action-adventure stories with characters such as Doc Savage, if you're a fan of the Indiana Jones films with Harrison Ford, if you're a fan of the Uncharted Drake's Fortune video game from the Uncharted series, with our titular character of, well, not a titular character, but our main character of Nathan Drake, which is a very similar game in terms of the story and the events that unfold within that game, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way, and I highly recommend it. Or if you're just a fan of just brilliant comic book storytelling, both from a writing and an artwork point of view, then I highly recommend you check out 5 Ghosts, Volume 1, Haunting of Fabian Gray. Interestingly enough, this series was actually intended to be a 5-issue limited series, but it sold so well on the masses and as a series as a whole that it was then turned into an ongoing, which issue 7 actually came out this past week, And I'm really glad to see, you know, including myself, other members of this YouTube comic book community of ours are all reading and really enjoying the series. Such people including Ghost Critic, Running with Comics, Dr. Monkeybot, MAWW01, and I think the Hulk's Big Toe as well. He's also reading the series. Excuse me. So shoutouts to all of those gentlemen, and I will leave links below to their channels in the description. So if you aren't subscribed to any of those gentlemen, you can go and do so. This was an absolute 5 out of 5 for 5 Ghosts Volume 1, The Haunting of Fabian Grey. I've really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. And that about concludes this review video, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Didn't like it, thumbs it down. But as I always say, if you thumbs down the video, by all means, please feel free to tell me why in the comments below, or send me a private message. If this is your first time here, and you'd like to see more of my videos, by all means, please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, this is Gambit896 signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, guys.